He's been in the managing investment funds for over 20 years. He's managed a fund with Bitcoins worth 100,000 Bitcoins. He's the founder and principal of Crypto Asset Management, and prior to founding CAM, he was the founder and investment manager for the Cryptocurrency Fund, one of the world's first private funds focused on cryptocurrencies. He has 5 university degrees. Can you imagine? That's some big numbers. Welcome on stage, Tim Enneking.
So thank you. Is the microphone working? If
yes,
not,
you want to come on stage.
If it's not, I'll simply no, I don't want to come on stage.
You don't want to come on stage. That's fine.
Everyone comes on stage and puts themselves above everybody else, right? Cryptocurrency is about, as the president and founder of the Polo Club said, about equality, about egalitarianism, about decentralization. So let's start with that as the theme. The fund I set up, the cryptocurrency fund, way back when was actually formerly a Russian fund that I repurposed when I decided to get out of Russia because I didn't like the direction Putin was going, which turned out to be the last good time to get the hell out of the country. And I realized that people who had the attitude, investors who had the attitude to invest in geographically developed markets, also were comfortable with technologically developed markets. So most of my investors switched over with me. That was in 2013. So I've been doing this for, it'll soon be 6 years. One of the things we're doing is we're exploring launching I was just in Malta, we're launching another fund there because of the new legal regime, but we're also looking at creating the first Islamic compliant cryptocurrency fund. So we're doing a review right now of Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And I was told that I will have to meet with a finance council, an Islamic finance council, to explain crypto. And to this law firm that wanted to set this up, I said, no, I'm not going to explain crypto. Or at least I'm not going to start explaining crypto. So what are you talking about? They don't understand crypto. I said, well, the reason I'm not going to do that is because I'm going to explain to them what fiat is, what regular money is. Because I guarantee each and every person here, including bankers who've been doing for 30 or 40 years, you will learn something about fiat currency that you didn't know. The more one studies crypto, the more one learns about fiat. And what you discover is there are massive, because I did the same thing, there are massive assumptions about fiat that we all make that are wrong. So we're going to talk about very briefly about money. But first I put out a proposition. And this is it, I won't bother repeating it. Yet at the same time, cryptocurrencies are not particularly new. The first one is over 30 years old. They're not particularly innovative. It's a very logical extension of everything that came before. Even the word token is from token ring, and before that from amusement parks. The concept has been around of tokens has been around for at least 40 years. So at the same time, while this is true, it's amazing because you no longer have to live in a suburb of San Francisco to be able to raise money. The first ICO I invested in, or pre-ICO, was based in Estonia. Fortunately, I'm one of those rare Americans who actually understood where the hell Estonia is. It's amazing because nowadays, anybody with a good idea, with execution skills, can raise money. It's absolutely fabulous, and it's never been true. There were maybe 100 million people on the planet that had the possibility to even raise funds. Now, it's probably half the population. It's probably 3.5 billion people. It's amazing because, believe it or not, all good ideas are not born in the heads of young white males from San Francisco.
Graduated from Stanford.
Where's that?
San Francisco.
Sure. Where's that? Where's that? Come on. London, that's right. Those are the places where you could raise money effectively. Now you can raise money anywhere. So let's talk about money. Here you see, I'm not going to read all of this stuff, but let me ask you a question. What happened on August 15th, 1971 with respect to money? What's that? Bretton Woods. Bretton Woods also actually happened in 1946, so how was 1971 related to 1970? Okay, Nixon finished what, and everyone thinks Nixon took the United States dollar off the gold standard. It's quite interesting. It's actually not what happened. Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the United States, the president before and during most of World War II, started the process of taking the US off the gold standard. I talk about the United States here not because I'm a damn Yankee. I talk about the United States here because at the end of World War II, the United States, a single nation, represented 41% of the global GDP. It was the world economy. It now represents, any guesses? 23% and dropping on an annual basis. From a PPP standpoint, from a purchasing power parity standpoint, the United States represents 13% of the global GDP. Now what that means is the United States, although it's been growing, is growing a lot less fast than most other countries in the world. But the important thing is, in 1933, it became illegal for Americans to own gold. People were arrested and put in jail for having physical gold at home. It became illegal because Franklin Delano Roosevelt stopped the ability to exchange dollars for gold. Why? Because M1 wasn't growing. M1, the money supply. Why did the Dark Ages happen? 1,000 years from the fall of Rome to the Industrial Revolution, where very little economic development or any other kind of development took place. The biggest reason has become M1 did not expand. Money was backed by gold. You want more money? You want to expand? You have to find another gold mine. Well, they're kind of hard to put your hands on. What happened before the Industrial Revolution? British East India Company, Dutch East India Company, issuing shares of stock, M1 expands. M1 starts to expand, less than 150 years later, the Industrial Revolution begins. You cannot have the Industrial Revolution without money. So let's keep going. Bretton Woods in 44, first credit card comes out. Nixon finishes what Franklin Delano Roosevelt started. He totally broke the connection between the US dollar and gold. And at that point in time, every other country followed suit because the United States was still 35% of the global economy and the US dollar had already become the de facto reserve currency. So at that point in time, you have a very different world. And there are a lot of people, there are hard money bugs, there are gold bugs now, hard money people. Suddenly you have money that is backed by what? There's this lovely phrase, full faith and credit. Let's ignore, it's not even an IOU. It's not, an IOU is something. An IOU means it's backed and there are assets behind the IOU, or at least the dude that signed the IOU. No, wrong answer. Go ahead. What's that? Debt. No, it's not backed by debt. For it to be backed by debt means there's some tie between the dollar, the bill, the note, the Swiss franc, the euro, and that debt. There is no such tie. Thank you. Trust, faith, credit, belief. Fiat currencies became a religious issue. The only reason the dollar is worth anything is because if I offer it to you in exchange for your watch, okay, maybe $2, then you will take it because you know you can buy his watch from him. He has faith that that is legal tender, that he can buy other things with it. Which is all quite interesting. And if you understand what fiat currencies are, what they really are, it's not a magic leap to cryptocurrencies. As I tell people, 1974, a bunch of Greek colonels overthrew the government of Cyprus. Turkey invades from the north, you get this diagonal line running across, suddenly you have 3 international airports on one small island because the green line runs through the Nicosia International Airport. Why is that important? 1.5 million people on the island of Cyprus relaunched actually, a currency, the Cypriot Pound, which at $2 to the Cypriot Pound became one of the few currencies in the world other than the British pound that was nominally stronger than the US dollar. What was it backed by? It was created in 74. It was backed by nothing. Query, why can 1.5 million people on an island in the Eastern Mediterranean launch a currency backed by nothing when 1.5 million people connected via the internet can't? Of course they can. So my underlying thesis, I won't go on any further with examples, is that the better you understand fiat, the less dramatic crypto becomes. It's actually a very, very steady logical extension. Who here has frequent flyer miles? The rest of you, I assume, do. You're just too lazy to raise your hands. Frequent flyer miles you used to be able to exchange strictly for other plane flights. Now there's a secondary market for frequent flyer miles. They cost between between a tenth and 2/10 of a cent each. Cent, pick your kind of cent: Swiss franc cent, euro cent, dollar cent. You can exchange them for points and virtually any other currency, any product that you want. The airlines will let you buy duty free. You can buy hotels. You can buy hotel rooms. Probably buy hotels too. Buy all sorts of different things with frequent flyer miles. Frequent flyer miles are a de facto cryptocurrency. It's sort of funny we're comparing something, a fiat institution, to crypto, with one difference. And that difference doesn't apply, or it's not a difference with respect to every cryptocurrency, which is that it's highly centralized. There is no blockchain. It's not decentralized ledger technology. It's centralized ledger technology. You know, that's not such a big difference. The difference between frequent flyer miles and cryptocurrencies is about yay big. Now, here's an interesting statistic. The United States dollar didn't exist until 1863, when President Lincoln outlawed it in the North. It ceased to it began to exist, cover the entire country, after the North won the Civil War in the United States in 1865. Until then, there were 8,000 currencies in the United States. Every state, every bank, large companies, they all issue their own currency. How many stocks are there on the NASDAQ? Come on, bankers, traders, tell me. You trade on the NASDAQ? How many are there? 3,000, very close. There are 3,000 on the NASDAQ. How many cryptocurrencies are listed on CoinMarketCap? 1,600 as of last count. So you have comparable numbers here. You have 8,000 currencies in the United States. Unfortunately, I left my charger back, so I couldn't research this. So I don't know how many currencies there were in Switzerland prior to the creation of the Swiss franc. Pardon me? Thank you.
Driving me crazy.
Okay.
There you go.
ODC, are we? OCD, yes, okay. Thank you. Every country first introduced its currency. But guess what? Prior to that introduction, there were hundreds, tens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of currencies in every country on the planet Earth. So the more you understand, the better you understand the history of fiat, the easier it is to grasp what's going on in the crypto space. There was a Philadelphia Stock Exchange, a Geneva, a Zurich, a Zug, probably, stock exchange. There was a London, a Liverpool stock exchange. There were stock exchanges all over the place 50 years ago. The consolidation is relatively recent. You look at the number of crypto exchanges. Someone said, oh, there are so many crypto exchanges. Okay, how many exchanges are there in the world today, even after the consolidation? There are almost 1,000 exchanges in the world today. And so everyone thinks there are too many in the crypto space. Sorry. The better you understand the fiat space, the more you understand fiat financial history, the less unusual cryptocurrencies become. So when someone asks me to explain crypto to them, I never start with crypto. I start with Roman armies invading Gaul, handing scrip, which we have extant on tree bark and on leather, where they took 50 head of cattle from, Caesar takes 50 head of cattle from a farmer, gives him a scrip to saying you can redeem this for $1, the etymological source of the word dollar, in Rome. And so the first secondary market cap, somebody buys them for 40 cents on the dollar, runs to Rome, bribes a senator with 10%, and walks away with all his gold. Scrip was a parallel currency, and it's existed for almost as long as the human race has. Keep going. You see what happens with crypto, and the interesting thing here is, I'm not sure if this now the laser won't work. Bottom left, Digicast, Netherlands, 1989, the first cryptocurrency. As near as I can tell, BTC is the 9th incarnation of cryptocurrency. Why is Satoshi Nakamoto anonymous? Because he learned from the guy that ran BitGold and got arrested by ATF in Texas in the United States because he had a gold-backed currency in the United States, and he called it a currency. The United States, there's only one currency that's been allowed there since, you got it, 1863. So, if you look at these trends, these numbers, what you see is that there is a tremendous requirement for communication and for transfer of wealth. A currency has three general qualities historically: medium of exchange, a unit of value, and a store of wealth. I would add a fourth, which is transferability. As soon as it's easy to transfer cryptocurrencies on smartphones, what we've seen so far with respect to cryptocurrencies is going to look like the internet in 1986. If we keep going, you can see how things are growing. That's the population in 1900. It was almost completely rural, and now we're looking, sorry, this is not doing all that well. Now we're looking at 7 billion people. Pause. Q&A, questions, please.
Thank you, Tim. First of all, please give him a applause. Thank you so much.
Wait, I have one more thing to say. Hop, Suisse!
Okay. We're actually in France, but yeah, that works.
I didn't say we were in Switzerland. What, you can't
Absolutely.
support Switzerland from here?
Okay.
Get out of here. What is it?
Time for Q&A, 2 minutes. Anybody, we have microphones in the back, so you just can raise your hand. Who has questions to Tim? This is the opportunity. Can we have a microphone over here, please? Maybe say your name as well. And
Hi, I'm Brent. I guess my main question for you is, what do you think is the main impediment to adoption right now? Is it usability? Is it how easy? Is it the fungibility of crypto assets? What is really keeping the masses from coming in on board in droves?
Ignorance. There's a lovely phrase, stupidity is forever, ignorance is temporary. It's ignorance, and ignorance begets fear, right? Human beings are naturally xenophobic, so you're used to currencies. People, gold is wonderful because it has this incredible history behind it, so people are kind of used to gold, but even so, they're getting less used to it. People don't understand crypto. That's one of the reasons why, given my fiat background, I do presentations like this as opposed to talking about proof of stake versus proof of work in terms of how you want to maintain a masternode or something. Why? Right? If you start there, then you start in chapter 9 of the book and you just leave people behind. I start here because I think it's important to address that single biggest issue. And it's very clearly, people are ignorant. They don't understand about it. There's nothing wrong with being ignorant. Ignorant just means you don't know. It's temporary.
okay.
Hi, I'm
One more
MC
question.
Mark Christian Reby. I have 7 questions for you. You said 71. What happened 73?
Wait,
1973. What happened?
Q&A goes the other way.
I was born 73. The first oil
Q&A
crisis.
still goes the other
First
way.
oil crisis. 80. Second oil crisis. 87, 94, 2001, 2008, 2015. Switzerland, little crisis. Now my question to you: what happens 2022?
What happens 2022?
That's what I asked you.
That's an expensive
Look,
question.
If you have a serious question, Mark Christian, let's please answer it.
Okay. Well, we have time for one last question. I give it ladies first. Sorry, you'll have the opportunity to talk to Tim afterwards as well. Okay.
On your slide, you said there were 69% of banked adults, but I heard it was 70% unbanked in the world. Was that a specific, that one right there? It says percentage of banked adults.
Ah, you're right. It should
It's
be
to be
unbanked. I'll shoot my project manager who made the
Okay,
typo.
I just wanted to clarify because every other stat you had was perfect, and I was like, seems like a typo.
It's unbanked. It's
Okay. Since
unbanked.
this was only a clarification, we're gonna do one last question here.
No, you got it. You're the one who's OCD. You've just proven it.
All right.
Olivier Massé, EFG Bank. As you are running an asset management company, what are the top 3 cryptocurrency that you would recommend us to invest in?
Alors, premièrement, je n'utilise pas le mot cryptocurrency, crypto-devise. J'utilise pas actif crypto. OK? Et parce que le
In
fait
English,
simplement
maybe?
de dire, that's the fact to say cryptocurrency already imposes something that I don't really like. So I much prefer to use crypto assets. I would not recommend the top 3 investments being crypto assets. The reason is basic fundamental diversification. When I first started in this area, it was, pardon the alliteration, binary Bitcoin bets. You either right or wrong, whether you're long or short. The market went the way you were betting, you made money. Otherwise, you got killed. Now you can have portfolio theory. You can have basic diversification. In the fund that I manage, we have fixed income the first fixed income class in the crypto space. It's never had a down month. I tell people put the standard 60-40, stocks and bonds split. I apply that in the crypto space. Virtually everything you can do except for complex derivatives in the fiat space, you can do in the crypto space. So when someone asks me where should I put money, I will tell them to do standard diversification, 3 different areas. In fiat parlance, and I actually am the asset manager to a medium-sized trust and family office in Southern California that has nothing to do with crypto, so I have very much a foot in each camp even today. Tell them 3 things. Equities, which is in a cryptocurrency, as you said, or a crypto asset that is actively traded. I prefer a basket. Secondly, a fixed income crypto income source, which is either ours or there are a few others out there now. And the third would be the fiat equivalent of alts, and those would be into pre-ICOs, a little bit of a more hairy investment. I'd also do a basket in that regard. So I would take, to answer the question of the 3 directions, I would take exactly the 3 main fiat directions, which have existed for decades. They're very, very good. They're very sound. I tell people, human psychology did not change with the advent of cryptocurrency. Human psychology is what dictates what investments are good and what are not. Look at PE ratio. E is calculatable. P is not. P is a function of psychology. Psychology hasn't changed, so neither should the investment thesis. So you take the exact same investment thesis from the fiat world and drop it into the crypto space. I hope that answers your question.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Tim. I'm sure you
Means
can
I should
talk
leave, right?